So, welcome to today's Greater Life CoffeeCast. And with today being Friday, the question I pose for you to ponder over the weekend is, are you using your assets? Now, I don't mean that in some derogatory objectification of women kind of way. No, I am recording this at one of my favourite eateries in all the world, a place called Slice of Cornwall. And the manageress here is a former student of mine, a former student who I mentored quite a lot. And I was chatting with her now, and she described me as her favourite teacher, which was a wonderful thing to hear. And the reason why I was inspired to create this now, while I wait for my friends to arrive before we dive into some brunch, is that the menu has changed and the branding has changed, and it's an absolute, like, I would say, in other words, it's a fecal spectacle, shall we say. And even, my family and friends who've recently dined here, who've seen the previous menus and the previous branding, are like, what have they done? Like, I can't read any of this. And the reason why I'm like asking you, are you using your assets, is because the manageress, her name's Ria, she has just completed a master's in communications design. Like, she is literally outstanding at the process of creating graphics, visuals and branding. And yet here she is, they are paying her to work in this restaurant and they are just not using her. Like, I've seen some of the things that she's created and I was like, wow, like, she's really good. And for the kind of food that they serve, the kind of ambience they want to create, I know that she would do an incredible job. And yet, here they are, creating something that no one can read, that wastes staff time because they have to explain everything to the customers, and that looks visually unappealing. So it's like, it's just a massive no-win on every single level, when you've got a solution literally right here under your roof. And this reminds me of a principle that one of my early mentors shared. He was from a Christian background, and so he would always say that the resources you need are right under the boat. And of course, referencing the story of when Jesus went out with the disciples, and the disciples had been fishing all day and they'd caught nothing. And Jesus was like, oh, just, throw your net over the other side of the boat. And they pulled in a huge haul, right? So very little changed, except a slight shift to realise that the resources were with them all along. And this is likely the case for you. If there are areas across any of your four pillars, your health, your happiness, your home, your hustle, where maybe you're finding things tough right now, my question is, are there assets that you're not deploying that you could? Are there people, resources that you're not using that you maybe just haven't even asked? And were you to ask, the answer would be a resounding yes. So, as you head into this weekend, where right now, if you are struggling, could you deploy your assets more effectively? And maybe even you're not struggling, maybe you're good. Where could you go from good to great by using your assets more effectively? All right. Have a great weekend.